Are you ready? Can Crush Us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom, bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah. Can Crushers. Yeah. Can Crushers. Let's go.
Hi everyone, this is Ringside Rain and you're listening to Can Crushers Podcast. And now, here is your host, Mark Martinez.
And welcome back to your Guilty Pleasure, the show that showcases independent wrestlers better than anyone across the world, the Can Crushers Wrestling Spotlight. And I am your host, as you heard from Ringside Rain, Mark Martinez. And boy, am I excited to talk to my guest this week. One about wrestling, two about candy. I just love candy. I really do. I can't wait. I hope she does too. She's a cotton candy princess, Tiffani Avatar, but I have to imagine that she loves candy as much as I do. I would hope, at least. It's in her name, the Cotton Candy Princess. I understand it's cotton candy. Everybody started at cotton candy at a fair or whatever as a child, but I want to know if her taste buds have changed along the way, and she's a big fan of lemon heads like myself, or whatever other candy that I will just indulge in. But we do want to know about her wrestling, what she's been doing since she started, how she started, all that cool stuff that we find out on Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, the Spotlight Edition. If you're just joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. Sit down, strap in, grab a beverage, because it's not your normal interview. We do things a little bit crazy around here. If you've been along for the ride for the over 500 episodes, awesome. Thank you. Continue to support, continue to like and share all these. Sharing is caring, but sharing also helps out the podcast. So if you're listening to this right now, throw a share on it so another wrestling fan who are like, hey, let's hear about the Cotton Candy Princess. Or go back in our archives and then share. Very first interview we had was Al Snow. And then it went to Manny Fernandez. And then independents just took over on here. We've had authors to referees to promoters, rising stars and legends. Make sure you check us out on all of our platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Alexa. Hell, we're even on IMDb. And we're also on Podurama. And right now, if you sign up for Podurama's service, you get 50% off a lifetime membership. Podurama's seamless. It really is. It'll go from your phone to your laptop, from your laptop to your computer, from your computer back to an Android or an iPhone or whatever. Everything is synced, and it's really cool. And, just so you guys know, Podurama gets the episodes earlier than anybody else. It's just the way it works out. Since we signed up with them, boom, they grab them really lickety-split quick. So if you just can't wait to hear myself on Wednesdays, and then on Saturday mornings around 8 o'clock, don't forget, we have our long, in-depth show about professional wrestling for the week and pay-per-views and whatever the hell WWE calls them right now. Premium live events, I know. They get it. They get it early. This way you can hear our succulent voices. Enough about us, though. Before we get to Tiffani, don't forget, head over to Collar and Elbow Wrestling brand. Once you're there and you buy all the merch that you like, all the t-shirts you like, all the hoodies you like, all the sweats you like, whatever, use our promo code CANCRUSHERS. All one word. Smash it together. Boom, Can Crushers. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. You'll save 10% off your entire order. Don't forget, for the littles in your life, or the old men like me, or whatever, whoever you're buying Christmas presents for, if you're going to use WWEshop.com, we have an affiliate code. It is in the show notes on any of the places that you're listening to. Just click on that link, and we're very transparent on this show. It may or may not save you some money, because I've went and I bought some Cody Rhodes things. I got a 10% discount on that. I did buy a new Roman Reigns shirt. I didn't get anything on that. But you will save and you will help support the podcast. Don't forget, if you'd like to be on a spotlight like Tiffani, cancrusher69@gmail.com will get you set up. Or slide into any of our DMs on Twitter, Threads, Facebook, or Instagram, and we'll get you scheduled. So, yeah. All right, here comes Al Snow to tell you more about Collar and Elbow. And when we come back, we will have the cotton candy princess, Tiffani Avatar, to come on the show.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
This is Donnie Bambino, one half of the Bad Fellas, and you're listening to Can Crushers. I don't know how you're listening to it, but I'll tell you what, you better leave a 5-star or I'll come visit you, and you don't want me knocking at your door.
And welcome back, guys. You heard how excited I was in the intro to talk candy. No, to talk about wrestling with the pink and blue dream, the cotton candy princess, Tiffani Avatar. Tiffani, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Super excited to have you on. There's so many wrestling questions that I want to talk about, but I gotta know right now. What is your favorite candy?
My favorite candy right now is Starburst. That will probably change in about 6 days.
Really? It changes that often?
Yes.
All right. This is going to go down a path that I thought you were going to say something lock and steady. I thought you were going to say cotton candy and stick and stay with it. I really did.
So cotton candy was my favorite as a kid. And then as I got older and started figuring out like, oh wait, everything just tastes amazing. The only thing I don't like is chocolate.
Really? Not at all?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Not a chocolate person.
I can have chocolate. I'm piggybacking you. I can have chocolate every once in a while, but it's got to be just like a Hershey's bar or something. I don't want anything with nuts or with this or that. It's just got to be plain, just chocolate, and I'm good for a while. My favorite candy is lemon heads. I will go to the grave with lemon heads. I'll tell you a quick story because I have another question for you. But yeah, lemon heads are the all-time favorite in my head.
I've never heard anybody say lemon heads before.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm weird. I know. Have you?
It's not weird. It's unique.
Oh, you're putting me over. Thanks. Have you tried anything freeze-dried yet?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have not tried it yet, but I just found, you know how there's like all those like spicy challenges out there?
Yes.
Okay, I found a spicy freeze-dried Skittles.
I'm not a spicy guy, so I don't know if I'd be in on those. Are you excited for them?
Honestly, I recently just like discovered that I like super spicy things. So I think I definitely have to try it.
Oh, you have to. You have to.
I did the spicy ramen challenge a couple years ago when that was a big thing. And I don't know how I survived that, but I did, just barely. So yeah, this can't be any worse than that.
No, not on Skittles. That sweet will take a lot of the spice away quickly, I would imagine.
That's like what I thought. But then I started thinking about it, and like I don't really know how the whole freeze dried process works. So does it like eliminate some of the sweetness and then it's gonna be straight spice, or does it actually help it? Like I'm very curious about how this goes.
Well, I'll tell you on the lemon head side, because as I was going to a football game this weekend, we stopped at a gas station and I found freeze-dried lemon heads.
Oh my god.
Right? And of course, I bought a bag and I popped one in my mouth. I'm like, oh my god, lemon heads are sour within itself. It intensified the lemoniness, and that's not a real word, so don't look it up, but it intensified the lemoniness of everything, but took that hard crunch away, but there was still a crunch to it. They're my all-time favorite. There's lemon heads, and now freeze-dried lemon heads has topped it. I'm now looking for like a bushel basket full of freeze-dried lemon heads. So if anybody wants to send them to me, go right ahead. They're amazing. I suggest you try anything freeze-dried at least once.
I have a knack for finding things, so if I find it for you, I'll definitely send it your way.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm gonna have all these freeze-dried lemon heads coming my way. So let's get into wrestling, but before that, you are the Cotton Candy Princess, but recently, you were Storm? What's going on there?
So I do cosplay wrestling events, and I was wrestling at J1Con. I was Storm, and I fought Pikachu, or CM Pikachu.
Nice. I love... Hikaru Shida is the one that gets me all the time with all the stuff that she comes out wearing. I'm like, oh my god, she does it so good. And you posted this one over the weekend. I believe it was over the weekend. And I was like, oh, Tiffany's doing a little bit now too. I love when everybody does it. Like the Young Bucks come out as it, or whoever. They just throw their own little cosplay in. I'm like, I love this. It's another level on wrestling. And Indy's getting into it a lot more.
It's so awesome to see everybody do like the cosplaying, like when they're working their matches and stuff. I particularly, the cosplay pro wrestling company that I do work with, I love going to like the anime conventions and the gaming conventions and cosplay wrestling there, because these people get so into your characters. It's insane. Like, I can't even express to you how happy these people were when they saw Storm come out and walk to the ring.
Oh, I bet you it blew their mind. Really. And I would be one of them sitting in the crowd, so I'm not speaking ill of them. But yeah, I would be like, oh my god. Yeah.
It's so crazy. And then it blows my mind every time, because I've done Storm twice now. And every single time, like, they love everything. They love everybody's characters, don't get me wrong. But there's something about Storm. I don't know if I pulled off well. I don't know if it's just everybody really loves her. But it's got to be, like, the loudest reaction that I ever hear.
Do you, without giving it away, do you have anybody else in your back pocket that you want to try?
There's a couple in mind.
Nice.
I think they'll be very unexpected for people. As much as Storm shocked people, because when I started doing Storm, I wasn't really into the whole superhero thing. I hadn't even really seen like Avengers yet. So Storm kind of shocked people for me, but I think the next couple that I'm thinking about, people are going to be like, I didn't even know you knew who that character was.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. I'm going to keep watching. You better be posting good stuff on Instagram and everything.
I promise I will.
All right, let's do the rewind and then get into your wrestling and find out everything. Who first introduced you to professional wrestling? Mom, Dad, Uncle Joe, Aunt Sally? Like, who said, hey, Tiff, and I'm going to call you probably Tiff the rest of the time because that's just the way I am. Sorry. Hey, Tiff, this is what you're going to do when you grow up. Learn to love it.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I can't specifically tell you who introduced it to me. It was just on in my house. And I remember being like 3 years old and seeing Undertaker and was like, yep, that is the coolest person I've ever seen in my life.
So you grew up around wrestling then, essentially. It wasn't like mom and dad hated it, or it was just on.
I I don't know that they liked it or like all of my siblings liked it, and they were like, well, we're stuck here, let's tolerate it. But it was on, and when I was a kid, we used to do, everybody would just kind of sit together and watch WrestleMania, and it was just kind of a special thing for me. Like, we'd get like a bag of chips and salsa and hang out, and me and my sister would get a blanket and sleep on the floor while watching WrestleMania. It was just good memories.
Dad moments, we call those on the show, because that's awesome. I love that. So Undertaker, one of your favorites, probably growing up, because just the whole persona of him and everything. But who else did you like?
So I'm gonna be honest, for most of my childhood, I was so fixated on Undertaker is number one and he's the only person that matters. I didn't really start liking other wrestlers until I was in probably my freshman year of high school.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing.
Definitely Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox. I love the Bellas.
Okay. There's one other recent, because you kind of do a natural selection, so I would imagine she's on the list as well.
So I actually have not used that in quite an amount of time.
Oh, well, all right. That must have been the one that I watched then, the one time. But okay, so
fun fact. Actually, for a while, I could not stand her.
Really?
Yeah, now that I'm in wrestling, I understand everything she did, and it's perfect, right?
Right.
But as a fan, I legit hated her.
She was doing her job then, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She did her job very well.
So, growing up, not wrestling related, what did you do to get ready for wrestling? Because I spin everything to make it that you're getting for wrestling. Like, were you in drama? What kind of sports were you doing to kind of get your mindset?
Honestly, when I was a kid, I didn't really know for sure that I myself wanted to get into it.
Thank you for being honest, because everybody's like, I knew when I was 2.5 weeks old. No, you didn't.
No, I always knew how much I loved it. And I would constantly say to myself, like, man, I wish I could do that. But it never really crossed my mind that I could do it. Like, I always, like, I would sit there, especially when I was in, like, middle school, and I would start thinking about it. And I'm like, it would be amazing if, like, I could be there, but I don't even know where to begin. And I didn't have too many people around me that would know. So I honestly focused more on like playing guitar and drawing. I wanted to be a tattoo artist for a little while.
Ooh, that's noteworthy, because I have a sleeve of wrestling logos. Are you still practicing? Did you do any tattoo stuff at all?
So I gave up on that probably my senior year in high school. I went to a tattoo shop to talk to the guy about being an apprentice, and it didn't go well, and it kind of really like just crushed my whole dream. So honestly, like, I don't even really draw that much anymore. There are a couple of projects that I'm working on for some fellow wrestlers, but those are just kind of like, if they want to use them, I chose to do it in my free time, but if not, like, also cool.
Right. No, I get it. Now, tattoo artists, like my tattoo artist is probably one of my best friends. She is amazing, but I've seen her from apprentice until where she is now, and man, it's work. People think it's just, oh, you go to the tattoo artist, they trace something, da-da-da-da-da. You put in a lot of work, so I understand. I really do. So, when was that aha moment then that you're like, I'm going to do this? And how does that come about to get you to go to school and classes and everything?
Honestly, I can't specifically tell you when it was, but I remember I was still in high school and I had heard Sasha Banks' whole story, and I was like, she deals with a lot of stuff that I go through. Like, she's got anxiety just like I do. Like, yeah, I'm scared to death to do this, but if she could do it, why can't I?
Right.
And then, I got the opportunity to start wrestling, and I honestly, I just went for it, and I hope for the best, but I wasn't really like expecting to be where I am now.
Okay. I understand the anxiety as well. Trust me, on this end, when, doing interviews and everything, and like, we don't know each other personally, right? There's some people that I've really met and I've set them up to be on the show and everything. We don't know each other personally. We met on Instagram, essentially, via a friend.
Right.
But yeah, I get anxious doing these as well. Like, man, this girl guy, they're going to think I'm the biggest schmuck. And then I'm like, listen, I've done this over like 500 times. Just keep rolling with it and everything. So I understand your mindset that you just plug and play. You do it, and you get better. And now you're kicking ass and taking names, Tiffani. You really are.
I'm trying, that's for sure.
So how do you make that call then? Did you just stumble upon your school? Did somebody say, hey, go there? Or do you know somebody, essentially?
So right now, I don't currently have a school. I actually started wrestling on Grimm's Toy Show. My boyfriend at the time, he's on there, and they were like, hey, do you want to wrestle? Like, we can start teaching you. And I was like, okay, that's kind of crazy, but sure. And, I started there, and I was there for a little bit. And then I started training with some other people. I was with them for a short time. And then my actual job had relocated me to upstate New York. And I was like, all right, I really need to find like a school to go to where I can learn, because I think like I really want to do this. Like, I actually believe that I could get somewhere with this. And I had made friends with some other wrestlers up here, and they had directed me to Extreme Wrestling Alliance, where I did train there for some time. And then I stopped going because my mom had passed away. And in that whole process of me not wrestling, trying to figure out what I wanted to do after my mom had passed, I found the place that I train at now.
Okay. Man, I told you I don't do background or anything anymore. One, I apologize. I did not know that story. I'm so sorry. Your mom passed. Essentially, my story as well. I was, and you're like, this guy is completely copycatting me. He likes candy. He's this, he's that. No, I was doing like ring announcing down in Pittsburgh and everything. My mom passed, and I'm like, I'm just going to do the podcast. I'm not going to get back in or anything. Met a couple people. They're like, you've done this before. You get back in the ring, and that's essentially what it was. And I'm like, oh my God. Once it's in your blood, though, right, Tiffani? It's in your blood. You know that you can go somewhere.
My experience, and this might not be the same for everybody, but if you take your first couple of bumps, right, you'll know in that moment if this is what you want to do.
Right. Completely agree.
If you go home and you feel like, oh yeah, like I'm just in pain, like I don't know. If you're not truly happy with what you're doing in your training from the first couple of days, this probably isn't for you.
Right. You can have the soreness. You can have the, oh man, this tonight kind of sucked, but you're revved up about it and just ready to go back to get beat up again. You know you're in.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk first match, okay? Because how was the butterflies? How was everything? Do you go back and watch first match compared to what you're doing now? And do you see the comparison, like that whole story?
My first couple of months, I'll do my best here, but they are quite a blur. I did end up with a severe concussion, and it kind of wiped a lot of early on wrestling memories.
Okay. That's The usual. I'm sorry I'm being mean, but yeah, that's the usual, right? It really, I mean, it's
Yeah.
it,
I do remember bits and pieces from my first match. It actually happened to be against my best friend, Francesca Tini, and her fiance. It was a mixed tag match. I remember like standing on the apron, like waiting to be tagged in, and I don't even remember being nervous. I was just so excited, and then at the same time, I was like, I feel like it's a little too early for me to be having a match right now, but they're telling me I could do it. So, here we are. It's kind of too late to turn back. Yeah, it definitely was not good.
okay. Comparative to now, though, went through more training and you've gotten your legs underneath you and everything. You don't get those butterflies now, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. You should every time.
Every single time. I am so nervous, but it's a different kind of nervous. It's more, my nerves go up so high because all I want to do is be the best that I can out there. I'm not going out there telling myself, oh, don't even worry about it. Like, you're the best. Like, no, I know I'm not the best. I have a lot of work to do. But I want to put on the best performance that I am physically capable of doing every single time I go out there.
Right. And you should. And that's the best way of looking at it. Before I forget to ask you this, when you tell, parents that you're getting into professional wrestling because you were a wee one watching The Undertaker, what do they tell you?
No.
Right?
And then I was like, you know what? Like, no, I'm actually doing it. Like, yeah, it's happening. And I honestly just started like going after work, and they would be like, why are you working so late?
You were hiding.
And most of the time I actually really was working that late, but there was 1-2 days a week where I would go to work and I would leave and I would go to wrestling.
And then when they found out that you were lying to them, you were really much in trouble, right?
Honestly, they didn't find out until I was like, hey guys, I want a title.
Wow. So it's deep into your career then. I don't mean that you didn't win titles for years or anything, but it was not first match. They didn't see that.
No. And it's funny because like I would low key like share the videos of my matches and whatnot on my social media, and like I don't think anybody was really paying attention or like registering like, hey, my sister is wrestling, or like, oh, you're actually doing that. And then I had come home with the title belt, and it's like 10:30, 11 at night, and my dad was on the sofa and he's like, wait, you want a belt?
Yeah, take that, Dad.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
I don't think it's ever been told that way. People have said, yeah, we've hidden it from the parents or anything like this, but then, I wanted them there the first match. You waited until you had the title right in front of Dad. Here you go, Dad, look at this. I did it. Shut up.
So the reason I feel like it kind of played out that way is because when I had told my parents in elementary school that I wanted to learn how to play electric guitar, I had gotten a first act Discovery little electric guitar. And, they're very good to start at. Anybody that plays guitar knows like they're really good for kids. But, I'm all or nothing.
You wanted the one that Slash had, right?
I decided that the first song, because just skip everything else, I'm just going to start learning songs because, I just feel like I could do that. Because, I don't even know what told me I could. But I decided I was going to go with Raining Blood by Slayer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So 5th grade me is sitting there with this first act Discovery little white electric guitar trying to learn Raining Blood by Slayer. And I can't tell you what miracle happened that I actually did it on this guitar. But in order to get a better one, I had to prove that I could play it. So I'm sitting there with this guitar. The strings are literally snapping off as I'm trying to show my mom, like, look, I learned how to play. This thing ended up with 3 strings left by the time I was done.
And you were self-taught, or did you go to...
Completely self-taught.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Congratulations on that. That's crazy. And to learn a Slayer song to boot right off the bat. That was your first song that you learned.
Yeah, and not only like off the bat, but I'm in 5th grade.
Right, and in 5th grade. Right.
What am I doing?
What are you doing listening to Slayer in 5th grade, right?
Exactly.
That's the kind of parents you have. No, I'm kidding. I love your parents. So let's find out. I always ask this to everybody, and I make a comparison of 3 wrestlers. And through the couple clips that I have watched and being a weirdo looking at your social media, I'm kidding. I've taken 3 wrestlers and I've compiled it into who the Cotton Candy Princess Tiffani Avatar is. Now, I know I'm completely wrong from what we've talked about in the last 30 seconds, but here's the wrestlers that I have. I have Sasha Banks. That one's clearly. Boom, I understand that one. I have AJ Lee, and then I have Tasha Steelz. How close am I?
Oh, okay. Sasha and AJ, absolutely. Those are my biggest inspirations.
Okay. Tasha, though? Because I'll tell you why I grabbed Tasha here in a second.
You know, I never really compared myself to Tasha. Honestly,
it's the badass part of you, the things that you've just named. Because the band that we're going to talk about here in a second, I'm like, oh, she's actually a badass. So yeah,
I probably would have said like Kira Hogan.
Oh shit, yeah. Well, yeah, I see that one. You're right. You're more right than I am. But like I said, because you're a princess, but you're definitely not a pop princess. Listen, you learned Slayer in 5th grade, right?
Yeah.
You're not listening to Britney Spears or anything like that. Like, you go to, what concert have you gone to over 50 times in your life?
Avatar.
Right. So I went more Tasha because she had the badass logo, but you're actually, as I'm now thinking of, yeah, Kiara's probably right. I was just hoping, though. So did you pull Avatar because you like the band?
Yes.
Okay. We'll leave that.
I love them, like, more than life.
We'll leave that at that. Yeah. So day off stuff. We're gonna take a break from wrestling and we'll jump back in a little bit. But day off stuff. You're raging on the guitar. You brought up gaming. Do you still game a lot?
Honestly, wrestling and like training has taken up more of my time, so I don't really game that much anymore. But I do have like a select, like consistent, like games that I constantly play and obsess over.
And what are they?
So recently I've gotten more into like the mobile games, like on my phone. I'm obsessed with playing Jurassic World Alive. I will never stop playing that game. They better not discontinue it. This one's so silly, and I don't know why I obsess over it, but it's called Idle Miner, and you literally just tap the guys. Like, it pretty much runs itself, but I'm obsessed with it. I literally cannot stop playing it.
Is it just like a nervous twitch, or, and I don't mean this mean, because I completely understand, like, is it a nervous twitch and anxiety thing, just you're sitting there pounding the screen for no apparent reason? Trust me, I have games like that too. I legit have one of those fidget spinners on my phone when I'm going crazy because I can't carry a fidget spinner. I'll play with it on my phone.
That's actually a super smart idea, though. Like, I might steal that.
Yeah.
I think it's a nervous thing. I think it's an ADHD thing. I think it's a, ooh, look at the pretty colors thing.
Anything that distracts us, right? Anything.
Yes.
We are gnats. We are clearly gnats. So you brought up as well, guitar, any other hidden talents that are really hidden?
I'm really good at singing really bad.
So you're a karaoke singer, is essentially what you're telling me.
I'm a sing in my car. I don't care if somebody else is with me. You're gonna have to suffer through it kind of person.
And do you sing everything, or do you only sing the hard stuff that you like?
A little bit of everything. Like there's like some Rob Thomas Matchbox 20 songs that I'm obsessed with. Thanks Meet the Robinsons. That movie will forever live rent free in my head.
I get it.
Yeah, there's some lighter stuff in there. There's some Disney stuff in there, but most of it is Avatar, Baby Metal, Death Clock, Bullet for My Valentine, Disturbed.
What's your go-to song? Like, as soon as you hear the first chord, it's cranked up and you are already getting those vocal cords ready.
Oh, boy.
And do you want to do any of it on the show? Because it's your time.
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to get people to like me, okay? My go-to song right now is Valley of Disease by Avatar.
Okay. I'm not going to say that I know it. Because I don't know Avatar. Avatar could be sitting right next to me in studio right now. And I don't know who they are. So I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh my God, I love that song. I don't know them at all.
That's okay. I'll be sure to share all of my favorites with you.
I have a feeling when I get my whole ton of lemon heads, there's going to be a mix CD or something, an MP3. Does anybody make CDs anymore? Did you ever make a CD, or are you that young?
So, my first car was a 2002 Volkswagen Beetle, and that thing only had a CD player. So I would literally sit there in the mornings before school, and I would make like playlist CDs.
You're getting up before school to do this?
Yes.
Okay. Good for you. You're an early riser. Good for you. Like, I was, the bell rang and then Mark was then going to school, but.
No, I always woke up like an hour, maybe 2 hours early to make sure like I could set my playlist right, and like I had every song that I might want to listen to that day.
Everybody loved riding to school with you then. You were the Uber for your friends, right?
It only went well when they were actual metal people too. If they were not metal people, they did not like me.
Okay. I forgot to ask when we were talking about who Tiffani Avatar is. Listen, you're not the cotton candy princess. Everything we've talked about the last 5 minutes, you should be Death Slayer Queen or something like that. Where's the cotton candy princess come from?
The cotton candy princess comes from, honestly, me. Like, my favorite colors obviously are blue and pink, or blue and purple, or any variation of the three. My hair has been these colors for, gosh, I don't know, since 2016, 2017. And it really just kind of turned into a lifestyle because I'm so crazy with it. Like, my clothes all match my hair. You know, my makeup always matches my hair. I have contacts that match my hair. My apartment matches my hair. Like, everything is just cotton candy colored with me. And it just kind of became like, obviously I'm the cotton candy princess because this is literally my lifestyle.
It really is. And so you live it. So kudos to that. I love it. I really do. It's not just a gimmick with the air quotes around it. It's you.
Exactly.
Okay. 2 stupid questions that I always throw in.
I love stupid questions. Let's do it.
Well, it was going to be like 3, but we talked so much about candy that scratched everything off. So 2 stupid questions. If you had to pick a cereal character to be your partner in a tag match, who would it be?
Ooh, wow. Okay, here we go. Picking Tony the Tiger.
Ah,
Yeah.
no. He's tough and rough, and I understand that, but I had you for like Toucan Sam or something because of the colors and all of this. I thought, man, you're gonna go right to Toucan Sam because of
You,
all that.
you know what's really funny about that though? I love his colors, but I hate Fruit Loops.
I didn't say you had to like the cereal. Boy.
No, I know, but like I feel like if he was my tag partner, he's gonna show up with a box of Fruit Loops, and I'm gonna have to be like, no, buddy, I don't want these. But like Tony the Tiger, like I love Frosted Flakes. I love the strawberry milkshake Frosted Flakes. Those are like number one in my life right now. Plus, I love cats.
Okay. All right. Mine is Fred Flintstone because I cannot get enough Fruity Pebbles. At the age of 46, that's the only cereal I want in my house, ever. You know, at the age of 46, I should be looking at bran or fiber or something like that, but no, I'm a child. It's not going to happen.
Listen, I'm 28 and I'm still a child, so
Yeah.
it's okay.
My wife yells so much as me being a child, so yeah, I understand.
My best friend has yelled at me numerous times for the amount of cereal that I keep.
Oh, so you are a
Like,
cereal connoisseur then?
I have 6 different flavors of Cheerios in my cabinet right now.
Okay. All right. Tell me, and if you answer this wrong, I'm going to stop the interview. You're not a sociopath, right? How do you make your cereal in the morning?
Is there different ways to make your cereal?
Yeah, there really is. One will determine if you're a killer deep down inside, and one you're a normal human being. So, describe how you make a bowl of cereal in the morning.
Well, first I get a bowl.
Okay.
I put cereal in said bowl and then put just the right amount of oat milk that makes it not too soggy but not too dry.
Okay, you're not a sociopath then. There's people that put the milk in the bowl first. Do you know that, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah, now you understand they're crazy.
My buddy was just telling me that his one friend, when she makes her tea in the morning, she puts the milk in first and then like does the whole tea thing, and I don't understand that, but like more power to you.
That I don't understand how you're getting any tea then, because the milk is just so denser than tea.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people are going to do things differently, and
we're not shaming them, but we are.
I'm not shaming you. I just need you to explain, like,
right.
How did you get to this point in life?
Yeah, who told you the wrong way in life?
Yes, and then how do I find that person?
Right, because then they'll get shamed. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We don't shame anybody on here. We don't.
We don't. We just interrogate until we understand you're crazy.
Right. I guess this one isn't as, like I said, I had a list of them. We kind of blew through them in the opening and everything else. If you weren't wrestling, what else would you be doing? Like, what is a career path? And you don't have to do shoot job or anything like that, but what was another dream? Because you've already knocked off tattoo artist and rock stinger and artist and da-da-da. What else is a passion of yours?
So honestly, my actual job right now was legit a goal of mine for quite a number of years.
Oh, congratulations then. And I mean, that's awesome.
Thank you. So obviously everybody's got their first couple of job experiences. And one of my first jobs was working at Target. You know, I loved Target. Like, I lived for that place. I wanted to get so far there. And unfortunately, my original store manager had left. And then I got a new store manager who pushed a lot of us out. And it was done so in a way that really made me like question, like, man, can I even like manage a store, like, let alone make it to corporate? And then I started working for the company I work for now, which is FYE. And the store manager that hired me, I honestly didn't expect her to, just because of like the things that were said to me upon leaving Target. And she was like, no, you could do this, no problem. And I ended up being really good at being a store manager and just connecting with people. And it got me to a place where, you know, I currently work in the corporate office. And it's just, it's crazy to say to yourself, like, I love the company that I work for so much. Like, I want to move up. Like, I'm absolutely willing to give everything that I have to be able to get there. And then within 5 years, you're there.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a job. It's going to work isn't. It's always, there's going to be stressful moments and everything, but it's not, you actually enjoy going there. So it's not a job in life.
I loved working in store, like working in the mall, especially in my FYE stores that I did work in. I absolutely loved it. And like, as crazy as it's going to sound, working Black Friday was literally my favorite day to work.
You are crazy.
I know.
Everything I said back about you being a sociopath, I take back. I find ways not to go anywhere from Thanksgiving until after New Year's. And that's not that I don't like people. I love people. I do. Something happens to them from Black Friday until after New Year's. Like, it's just, people are possessed over stuff.
You know what? They are, but like, I feel like, and you know, there's plenty of people that follow me in my wrestling journey, because I did make buddies with a lot of the customers that would come in my store. Like, I think that's the thing that made me a little different. And I'm not saying that there's not other managers that don't do this, but in my store, and anybody that worked with me can probably attest to it. Like, if you came into my store, I made you feel like we were friends. And for a lot of those people, we did end up actually being friends. Like, you didn't just come in and it's another shopping experience. Like, you came in and I did my best to make sure that everybody felt as welcome as possible.
I need to go to some of your stores or sit down with you then at corporate and to see what you're teaching people, because we need to bring it down around this area, because that would be amazing. All right, back to wrestling a little bit. This will be the toughest question I ask. Really, really. Sure. Wrestling continues to change, good, bad, ugly. It still has kind of a little stigma around it. If there's something that you could eliminate in professional wrestling, what would you like to see gone? Just because people, oh my God, I sound like I'm really crapping on people tonight, and that's horrible. I'm not. I love people. But just people look at wrestling and like, oh, you're a wrestler. Sometimes you just have that stigma that wrestling's not good yet.
So I completely understand what you're saying, because there was somebody that I had met in the last couple of years who was like, oh, you're a wrestler? Yeah, I know that's all fake and stuff. And I was like, well, wait a minute, buddy. Like, you just met me. Do you really want to go there right now? If I could eliminate anything from wrestling in general, it would just be the negativity overall.
Yeah.
Because I get it. There's negativity all over the world. But there's some people in wrestling that are just negative to be negative, and they don't see wrestlers as people. Like, yeah, we go and we fight each other and whatever, but like, we are definitely people. We definitely have feelings, and you being negative and bullying and posting things that don't need to be posted and, you know, whatnot. And, you know, just look at Twitter.
Oh my
Wrestling Twitter is the most insane lobbying of high school bullies I have ever seen.
It's a cesspool. It really is. It's horrible. We have a Twitter just to post our episodes on it. We don't get involved in Twitter other than that, because wrestling's for everybody. Like,
yeah,
if you don't like WWE right now and you only like AEW, cool. If in 6 months after you're switching from Starburst to whatever else you want to like WWE and not AEW, that's fine. There's NWA, there's New Japan. There's enough of something out there. Maybe I don't like, get ready. She's going to reach through the phone and punch me in the face. I don't like Avatar. But I want to listen to Britney Spears. That's my thing. In maybe 6 months, we'll switch, right? It's okay. You hate me right now. You absolutely hate me right now.
I should have seen it coming.
Right? Yeah, you should. Clearly, you should have.
But my brain is so obsessed with Avatar. Like, there's no way anybody could put those words together in a sentence, and then you said it.
There you go. There you go. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? I took it to the level that you understood it. Yes.
Yes.
There's no reason for one hate in the world, and there's no reason for wrestling hate. My gosh.
Like, and I just don't understand why the hate is necessary, because my goal in wrestling above anything else that I want to accomplish in this business is to make people happy.
That should be honestly, every wrestler's number one goal. Completely agree.
Would being signed be fantastic? Yes. Would being WWE Women's Champion one day be fantastic? Absolutely. But ultimately, I want to make somebody, or as many people as possible, as happy as watching AJ Lee made me, or as happy as watching Sasha Banks made me, or even watching her now, as Mercedes Moné. Like, I want to make somebody feel, for however short or long that it happens, that there's magic in their world.
And there is. That's what wrestling is. If a show runs 3, 4, 5 hours, whatever, escape reality and enjoy what's going on that. And I hate using this word, but you'll understand what I mean. On that stage or that platform. We call it a ring, but on that stage or platform. Forget everything else and enjoy what's going on there. If it's on TV, if you're at the show or whatever. Just forget that whatever's going on. I'm not going to mention anything because there's enough going on, but you know what I mean.
Exactly. Like, everybody in this world, I don't care how perfect you want to pretend your life is on social media, everybody is going through something. Why can we not all exist in this space of wrestling and just let it be what it's supposed to be, and that's a happy place for everybody? Agreed.
What's the best advice you've gotten from somebody either behind the curtain or in wrestling? I mean, I'm sure in life you've gotten a lot of great advice, but like from behind the curtain or one of your trainers or a promoter or something, it said, "Hey, da-da-da-da-da." What was it?
It's gonna sound so silly. It really is. The best advice that I've ever gotten from anybody in regards to wrestling is to just be myself.
No, that's not silly. It's not. It's perfect because, listen, you live the cotton candy princess life, and I'm not knocking you for it because I actually love it. You live that life. Why would you want to? Why would you want to change that? That is you. Wrestling, you're supposed to amp it up, by 10 or whatever. You don't seem you need to. You seem like this is your life. You're crazy within itself. You have 6 boxes of Cheerios. I didn't know there were 6 flavors of Cheerios, but you understand.
Like, when I was training at I can't even remember which place it was, but they were like, "Oh, what's your character?" And I stood there and I froze. And the only thing that I could think to myself was, dude, just be you. Like, just be you. Like, but if you ask my best friend, she's going to tell you on a scale of 1 to 10 on how dramatic am I, she's going to say like 4,000, which I think is inaccurate. But obviously, if I'm a 4,000, then being me is plenty for wrestling.
Exactly. I love your friend.
Don't encourage her. She's gonna watch this.
I hear it. How much wrestling do you watch now? I know you said, you're training, you have your job and everything, but how much do you squeeze in to watch of like today's product?
Honestly, I never make any of any of the shows when they're airing live. So a lot of what I do watch is like the uploads to YouTube. So I've kind of had to narrow it down to, okay, I'm at the gym and I'm doing cardio. Cool. I want to watch this person's match, and this person's match.
And are you watching them for enjoyment, or is it mostly tape study?
There's certain people that I definitely watch for more enjoyment than tape study, but I'm also tape studying. It's just I'm watching you because I'm still a huge fan of you.
Okay. That's a PC answer, but okay, I get it.
There's definitely people, like, I watch a lot of like Charlotte's promos, especially from like watching her grow from NXT to, you know, the queen that she is today. I watch a lot of that to see, okay, like this is where my promo work is, I feel, and this is where she was, and okay, so I'm kind of around that level. So what was the next step for her? What was the next promo that she did? And then I can kind of like go based off of that.
How far back do you go? Do you go back into like the 80s and maybe watch like Wendy Richter or anybody like that? Or do you, listen, I'm going to say it mean, and you could slap me again when you see me, but do you skip over maybe the Attitude Era because it was rough? And do you go only when AJ and the Bellas came out and start watching there again?
So I'm right now in the timeline of wrestling, I'm watching like Hulk Hogan in Japan and Steve Austin in Japan.
Okay. So you're back there a little bit. That's good. Is there, I guess I'm pulling it. Is there any woman from back then that you grab?
As far as women wrestlers go, as far back as like my personal favorites and people that I study go, would probably just be as far back as Lita.
Okay. And that's probably the good starting point. And I'm not knocking, because we've had some women legends on the show before, and they even said, you know, there was a pause in women's wrestling that people just don't talk about, have it be anything. And you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, so that Lita at least brought it back, and then AJ just excelled with it. I think, I'll ask you this right now. Who do you think actually started this women's revolution that the horsewomen have carried on and everything? You know, the whole women's revolution.
Yes. In my head, and I know there's people that disagree, everybody's got their own opinion about it, I honestly think AJ Lee started it.
Yeah, me too. I will back you. I will wave the flag with you there.
She was the first person to come out on TV and not dress like a typical diva. And I was like, oh my God, like we're wearing the same shoes and she's wrestling in them. And like, she's got Hot Topic belts too. Like, okay, this is really cool. Like I feel at home here.
Yeah. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling?
Are we talking everybody together? Are we talking just the men, just the women? Does it matter?
How do you want to break it down? Any way that you want to.
All right. I'm going to get hate for it probably, but this is my Mount Rushmore, so here we go. Undertaker is number 1 on there, followed by Mercedes Moné / Sasha Banks, followed by Lita, followed by AJ Lee.
Why are you going to get hate for that? If anybody sends you hate, you better send them back to me, because there's no hate there. Yeah. The Undertaker's the only one I would be like, eh. And I understand he's your favorite, this, that, and the other thing. He was very, and I love him. Mark, come on the show. Talk to this Mark. But I love him, but if WWF didn't have Undertaker, I think it would have been okay. I really do. If they didn't have those 3 women, I think there's a bigger problem there. That's all I'm going to say.
I can completely understand when you separate like what the men were all doing and what the women were all doing. I can absolutely agree. Like, yeah, if those 3 women did not exist in WWE, it would not be remotely what we're watching the women do today.
Right.
As far as them being okay without the Undertaker, could they exist?
I'm going to get hate for that, by the way. I'll get hate for that.
if I was speaking straight as the obsessed Undertaker fan that I was for the majority of my life, I would say you're absolutely insane. How could anybody exist without him? But if I look at it as like from a realistic point of view, I think WWE would still exist. I don't think it would be what it is necessarily. Obviously, the success would still be there because there's plenty of other people there that were just as popular. But without Undertaker's WrestleMania streak.
Oh, yes. I just like stirring the pot, Tiff, every once in a while. I wanted to hear what you wanted to say, so I agree. Can you look back as you and your sister are snuggled underneath the blanket of WrestleMania, and now you're like hovering above yourself and say, that girl right there, she's going to make it. And how does that make you feel?
Even if I go back to me really deciding in March that I'm going to go and I'm going to do a tryout and see how it goes, even if I went back to me in March and said, this is where you're going to be in a couple of months, I would say you're absolutely off your rocker. Let alone looking at child me hovering over myself and saying, this is what you're going to do and you are going to make it and you are going to actually achieve these goals in wrestling that you set for yourself. I would definitely tell my mom, I think I'm delusional. Something is definitely wrong with me because there's no way.
Right.
I was such a scared, shy, quiet, kid. I would never have pictured that I would be where I am.
I get it. Wrestling has broken boundaries and chains away a little bit then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's like me then versus me now is like two completely different people.
Yeah.
I don't even think if I walked into anybody that knew me as a kid that doesn't know me now, I don't even think they would recognize the same person. I was the kid where I still have people that I went to high school with for all 4 years that still don't even know that I was in high school with them.
Ouch. That hits. I understand that, yeah.
And to be that person just because I was quiet and I didn't really talk to that many people. And, high school was a very, very strange, interesting time for me. But to go from that to, even just this weekend, I was at Titan Championship Wrestling and me walking through that curtain, I could feel I feel the difference. When my music hits, I feel the Cotton Candy Princess. It's not just a character for me. It's a whole body experience of this is who I am right now.
Yep. So
go ahead.
I
would love for those people to come to a show and see what I do.
To see Tiffani, the real Tiffani that is just broken out and is taking over professional wrestling.
Yes, 1,000%.
So how you wanted to walk up to The Undertaker as a little kid, or Sasha, or AJ, or whoever, and ask questions and everything, and tell them, hey, you're my hero, or whatever in professional wrestling. You now have kids doing that to you. Have you had that experience yet? That you are somebody's AJ Lee, you are somebody's Sasha Banks, you are somebody's Undertaker with what you're doing? How does that make you feel?
There's a very special little girl in New Jersey, and every time I see her, she runs over and she gives me this huge hug and she's like, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're wrestling tonight. And it blows my mind because she's amazing, you know, and I never thought I would be in that position to say this girl looks up to me the way that I looked up to these people. And I still can't fathom, like, first of all, the courage she had, because this girl with all the confidence in the world, she saw me walk into a venue before a show and she just immediately ran over and hugged me. Like, I would never, if I saw Sasha Banks when I was a teenager or AJ Lee, and if I saw them walking in, I would just freeze. Like, there would be no part of my body that would have the confidence to go up and even say hi. Like, the fact that she's just like, no, like, I like this person and I'm gonna tell her is amazing.
Yeah. The feels, right?
Oh my gosh. Every single time.
Yeah. I have one kid. And listen, I'm just the ring announcer. I am. I have one kid that comes over and it's either a high five or a knuckle or something. And I know people are going to say, stop, Mark, stop. But I'm the ring announcer. But he wants a hug. He wants to know how the podcast is going. He wants to know this. He wants to, like, dude, that is, I have a son. I have a 17-year-old son who thinks I'm batshit crazy most of the time. When it's somebody else, you're laughing because you know I am. Thanks. When it's somebody else that's not in your family or anything, it's such an emotional high that I'm ready to take on the world again. And it's so cool. So I thank the fans all the time, just as me saying that. So I understand you as well. Those kids are amazing.
They'll never know how much they actually mean to us.
Yeah.
Because as much as these kids can look up to us and admire us, like, you guys are the reason that I walk through that curtain and I smile as much as I do. You're the reason that even on my worst days or nights, I go to bed or I wake up and I'm just like, you know, at least I have wrestling.
Yep.
You know, at least, like, I know that there's somebody else out there that needs me to be stronger than what I feel right now because they look up to me.
I love the way that you put that. Yes. All right, moving forward. Goals for the rest of, like, this year and into next year. What are some of those goals? Because, listen, I know you talked about you'd love to be signed, you'd love to be the champion, da-da-da-da-da. I say this, people are going to get sick of it. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? What are your goals for maybe, like, the next year and a half?
So my next goal for the next year and a half, I would like to get at least one dark match, if anything, on AEW or even Impact or something. I would like to get a tryout or a match somewhere. Short term, I just want to dominate the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like, I put it on social media and I meant every word of it. Next year is the year of the princess.
Is that really the calendar? Is it the princess year next year? I know there's so many calendars. I'm kidding. There's so many calendars out there that it's the dragon year, the princess. So, but next year is a princess year, right?
I'm calling it.
You should.
In my cotton candy Candyland world, next year is the year of the princess.
Deal. I'm gonna get a tiara.
If you get a tiara, it has to say cotton candy on it. That's the rule.
All right. You should start selling those.
You know what? Somebody else said that to me, and I was like, gosh darn it, now I gotta draw them and have my buddy make them for me.
There you go. Is there anybody, and I'm not saying dream match, because dream match is completely separate. Is there anybody that you really want to, and you're a princess, so I understand you don't target people, but is there anybody you'd like to share the ring with over this next year?
Everybody. Everybody possible.
Okay. Is there anywhere that you'd like to go? Like, is it a goal to go to Canada, Mexico, overseas, or anything like that?
So there's a couple like companies in the US that I am trying to work towards. Like I want to get to Beyond Wrestling Open. I'm looking to hopefully get on Pro Wrestling Grind. Bree combination. I definitely want to get there. There's definitely a couple of more local goals, but like if I could get out to like Japan, that would be sick. I think I need to wrestle a little bit longer before I can confidently say, yeah, I could go hang out in Japan, because honestly, I don't think I'm there yet, but I definitely know that I will be.
It's that 2-year goal, maybe then.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a little outside that year and a half.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely possible. All right, dream match. I have a caveat to this, though. Where would you like the event being held, and what stipulation in the match? And it can be anybody.
My dream match is Mercedes Moné. I don't care where it is. I don't care what stage it is. I just need it to happen.
Okay. I had a feeling it was going to be Mercedes. I thought you'd go like ladder match between you two, because I think you guys could rip down a ladder match. I think that both of you would just fluently run through that. And I don't know. Everybody does the generic Madison Square Garden, but it is what it is.
No, I don't. Would it be cool to have that match at WrestleMania? Absolutely. Would it be cool to have that match at Madison Square Garden? Absolutely. If anybody could just make that match happen, that's enough for me.
It could be in my backyard. You'd be happy, right?
It could literally be in somebody's backyard. If I have that match, my dream is accomplished.
Is there a match that WWE comes up and says, hey, Tiffani, probably wouldn't be your name in WWE, but we'll just use it right now. Hey, Tiffani, we want to do this match. Is there a match that you'll never do?
I will never do a death match.
Wow, thank you. Good.
And I'm not knocking it. I don't want anybody to take it that way. I just know it is absolutely not for me. First of all, I am anemic. I'm not really trying to bleed.
Again, something I definitely couldn't have researched that, so I wouldn't have known that. So okay.
Yeah. But I was at an event and there was a death match on there. I lasted about a minute and a half before I was like, I can't handle this. I need to walk away.
They're rough. They're rough to watch. And if it's your cup of tea, cool. I'm not knocking it either. It's rough.
Yeah, like I can't even horror movie. And then that was like watching a horror movie. And no, thank you. Sorry, I'm going to go back to Blue's Clues now.
Okay. So do you like Bluey then too? Do you watch Bluey still? No.
I love Bluey.
Of course you would. Of course you would. So you do a hair versus hair match?
Oh.
See, I didn't think you'd say death match. I had hair versus hair as my one. But
if you offered me, okay, these are your choices. You could either do a death match or you could do a hair versus hair match. I will probably hate you forever, but I would choose the hair versus hair match.
Ooh.
I could always buy hair. I cannot buy
blood.
Hair, like, there's not enough therapy in the world to get me through the aftermath of me being a death match.
Touche. I get it. All right. This is your time. Give everybody your socials. Let everybody know where they can buy some merch. Where are you going to be here in the next couple weeks that people can follow you and everything?
So,
you do a great job on your socials, by the way, comparative to some of the, and I say this to the ones that don't do a good job. To some indie stars, you're taking care of your social media. So kudos to you.
I'm really trying. It is not easy. Like, at all.
Do you need an assistant?
I wish I could afford one, but there's no way. Like, if I could pay my little baby kitten over here to run my social media, that would be fantastic. Unfortunately, he likes to eat my phone, so that would be very counterproductive.
It would be. Sorry, go ahead.
So social medias, you can follow me on Instagram at Tiffani Avatar. Same for Twitter, X, whatever you want to call him now. It is Tiffani Avatar. YouTube, again, Tiffani Avatar. And if you'd like to follow me on Facebook, you can add Tiffany Van Wagner or Tiffani Avatar.
In merch, do you ship? Do you have? Yeah. See, make some money, girl.
If you are looking for 8x10s, please message me directly on Instagram. If you are looking for t-shirts, notebooks, laptop, phone cases, or anything like that, you can search Tiffani Avatar on TeePublic. And then I also have a pro wrestling tee store.
There you go. And where are you going to be in the next 2 weeks or so?
So, not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday, I believe, is November 19th. You can catch me at Kaiju Pro Wrestling in Bristol, Connecticut, where I will be taking on Big Juicy for the Phoenix Division Championship. I will also be the next weekend literally in between Avatar concerts. I will be in Quakertown, Pennsylvania, November 25th. I will be defending my 3WA Women's Championship against Miss Autumn Slight Breeze. Oops, I said that out loud.
You did.
Listen,
she will message me back. I will say that.
Go ahead, Autumn. Message him. I don't care. You're not taking my title.
How many times have you really seen Avatar? Is it 50?
So Black Friday, I'm going to see them in Wallingford, Connecticut. That will be number 47. And then I will be seeing them in Albany that Sunday. That will be 48.
So you're not at 50 yet. Okay.
No.
Are you going to hit 50 this year? Probably not.
Unfortunately, I don't think this year, but I will definitely be shooting for at least 65 next year.
Oh, big goals next year. Big goals next year for Avatar.
Oh, yes.
All right. Is there anything else that I forgot that you want to bring up or anything like that?
The only other thing I would want to say is thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's been a blast. I'm sorry that I've picked on you so much. Essentially, you've taken the jokes well. Maybe when we run into each other, you can let me borrow that CD and see if I can fathom listening to Avatar. I don't know.
Oh, don't worry. You can fathom listening to them because they're the best thing to ever hit this planet.
I clearly am going to tag them in everything because hopefully they're like, oh my God, she loves us. This other guy is an idiot.
I love them so much. I am trying to, the next time I see them, either Connecticut or Albany, I need to give him like my Tiffani Avatar t-shirt.
You clearly
I'm literally going to force my way to the stage and hand him my t-shirt and just take it.
Maybe get it to, if you're going to see him 2 more times, get it to the first one and maybe with a little note pinned to it so you really look like a creeper and say, hey, I'm going to be at your next one as well. Please wear it so I know that you love me as much as I love you, right?
I definitely don't think he could love me as much as I love Avatar collectively. But I just, like, I don't even care if you wear it. I don't need to know what you do with it afterwards. I just need to give this shirt to you because I own at least, what was the last time I counted? I think I have 52 Avatar shirts and hoodies, like, collectively. No, 53 because I have the hunter-gatherer tank top as well. So, like, I have so many of your shirts, I feel like you should at least have one of mine.
That would only be right. It really would.
Right?
Right.
And you don't even have to spend the monies. Like, I'm giving it to you for free. Happy Christmas or crisis, whatever you would like to prefer to say.
Oh, my God. You're not a stalker, but she's one hell of a professional wrestler, the Cotton Candy Princess, Tiffani Avatar. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
This is the vivacious, vicious Vicky. If nobody knows who I am, I feel so bad for you. But with that being said, take a seat, because you're listening to the Can Crushers podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about the Cotton Candy Princess, Tiffani Avatar? What an amazing interview. First and foremost, I love how I ribbed her a few times. I'm going to pat myself on the back just because that's the guy I am, if you haven't learned it during the whole interview and everything. But, man, she is a candy connoisseur. I love that. And kind of same taste buds as me, minus the lemon heads, because it really is amazing how many people do not like lemon heads. I'm shocked they're still on the market, because maybe I'm the only one buying them. But that whole freeze-dry thing, if you guys haven't tried it, really, I've seen it on TikTok, try it. Try some of the freeze-dry stuff. It'll blow your mind. But no chocolate. Like, I can do chocolate every once in a while. Again, this is a wrestling podcast, Mark. Stop talking about candy, which is your favorite thing. I love the memories. Of The Undertaker. And I hope I didn't make a lot of people mad. I really don't, because, listen, when we heard the Mount Rushmore from my girl Tiff, I out of those four, The Undertaker is the easiest one to knock off for me. Really is. Because the other three just have done so much more for WWE, and I hate breaking it up like this, but you guys understand what I'm saying. The women's division, they have just excelled. The Undertaker, yes, the streak, the championships, the storylines and everything, but I love Tiffany's just complete honesty. Just everything she talks about, she's just open and says, hey, listen, I had some concussions. I forgot about this, forgot about that. First match is tough to watch, but she continues to climb. Like, these are the stories. This is what I love about the Spotlight edition of Can Crushers, because you don't hear these stories anywhere else but here, to find out what the indie stars are going through to get to that next level. And we've heard from other people from around the world that, hey, they just want to wrestle on weekends, and this is kind of like a hobby. They love doing it. Tiff wants to make people happy. She would love the WWE, contract, the WWE championship, and to beat the hell out of Mercedes Moné in my backyard or wherever we're going to book it. But her goal is to make people happy. And I think she's doing that already. So, Tiffani, you're listening to the end of this. Congratulations, you've knocked the goal off. Boom, take care of that. Now let's push. Let's get that dark match. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's get you overseas to Japan, and let's knock off Canada or wherever we want to go. Like, I am so involved. You guys don't understand how many times a wrestler from a couple years ago, I'll go back and check and see what they've done and see what they've accomplished since they've been on Can Crushers. And it's reaching back out to them. Now their schedule, and I'm not saying I did this, so I'm not taking any credit, but it's just they continue to push. That's what's so awesome about wrestling. It really is. Once it's in your veins, and you live, die, you eat, breathe, you do everything for it, because wrestling just relaxes you. It gets you hyped up. It puts a smile on your face. Especially, you heard the story about Tiff and the girl in New Jersey that just runs over as soon as she comes into the building. It's awesome. Those feels that you get. I talk about dad moments all the time on the Spotlight episodes a lot. That's what it is. You get those feels, and it's just so great. So, guys, make sure you continue and go follow Tiffani Avatar, okay? Don't follow her at any concerts, because she'll probably tackle you to get the shirt up to Avatar and all that. Don't stalk her, but follow her journey in professional wrestling, because, yeah, she's going to get that dark match. She's going to have those matches that we talked about on this show. So, and you'll hear from her again on Can Crushers. So, all right, guys, remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know.